In the sprawling crystalline palace of the Zarkonian Empire, the soft glow of bioluminescent walls reflected against the polished floors like liquid starlight. Outside, the twin suns of the distant planet Valora painted the sky in bands of amber and violet, but inside, the grandeur of the palace could not soothe the ceaseless wails that echoed through its corridors. The source of the commotion was the royal nursery. Queen Lishara, ruler of the Zarkonians, sat rigid in a gravity-cushioned chair, her 6 arms crossed protectively over her chest, eyes narrowed in both frustration and worry. Her newborn, Lyran, refused to stop crying. The infant's tiny, translucent wings fluttered weakly, and its pulsating, multicolored skin shimmered erratically, a sign, according to Zarkonian lore, of deep distress. Royal attendants floated in and out, their hands filled with exotic instruments and soothing devices, none of which had any effect. Cradling crystals that emitted calming pheromones, or playing soft harmonic frequencies designed for the delicate ears of newborns, each attempt failed. Lyran's cries only grew louder, a piercing sound that made even the palace guards wince. "Your Majesty, perhaps we should summon the Chamber of Elders," suggested High Attendant Vyrek, his voice trembling with unease. Lishra's 6 eyes darted toward him. "Do you think the Elders will know better than the methods we've already tried? This is no ordinary disturbance. There's something different about him." The Queen's words hung in the air like an ominous fog. It was true. Lyran was unlike any Zarkonian child born in centuries. From the moment he emerged, he seemed attuned not just to the palace's energies, but to something far beyond. He did not respond to the usual lullabies, the hums of Zarkonian wind instruments, or even the gentle vibrations of the palace floors designed to mimic a mother's heartbeat. Outside the nursery, in the lower levels of the palace, a lone figure went about his nightly duties. Terran by origin, a human who had come to Valora years ago as part of a diplomatic exchange, Jace was a janitor, responsible for keeping the corridors immaculate. No one paid him much attention. Humans were considered quaint, harmless creatures, useful for manual labor but unsuited to the complexities of Zarkonian life. Yet, that very night, Jace felt an inexplicable pull toward the royal nursery. Perhaps it was the echoing cries, a sound so raw and penetrating it reached even the lowest levels of the palace. Perhaps it was something else, something deeper, a resonance that called to him in a way words could not explain. When he arrived, Jace found the attendants frazzled, floating helplessly, their 6 arms flailing in frantic coordination. He hesitated at the threshold, unsure if he should intervene. But before he could decide, Lyran's cries intensified, and a sudden, instinctive compassion surged within him. Without thinking, Jace stepped forward, the polished floor reflecting the soft glow of his Terran uniform. "Excuse me," he said softly, though the word was almost lost in the cacophony. Maybe this will help?" The attendants froze. Lishara turned her head slowly, studying the human with a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. "Do you know how to calm a Zarkonian infant?" Vyrek asked, incredulous. "No," Jace admitted. "I'm just going to hum." The Queen's brow furrowed. Hum. In the Zarkonian language, communication with infants was considered a precise art, requiring specific vibrations and harmonics. A simple human hum was, by all known measures, insufficient. Yet something compelled her to allow it. Perhaps it was the desperation etched on her alien features, the utter failure of her own people's methods. Perhaps it was curiosity. Jace inhaled and began to hum. It was low at first, a tentative vibration that resonated from deep within his chest. Slowly, the hum grew steadier, more deliberate. There was no melody, no deliberate attempt at music, just a steady, soft sound born of instinct. Lyran's cries did not cease immediately. They faltered, twisted in confusion, but Jace continued, adjusting the tone unconsciously, following an intuition he could not name. And then, almost imperceptibly, the infant's wings began to quiver less violently. The shimmering of his skin slowed, settling into a gentle pulse. Lishra's 6 eyes widened. "It's responding." The attendants gasped. High Attendant Vyrek stumbled backward, his mind racing to explain the phenomenon in terms of Zarkonian physiology. No human technique had ever worked with a royal infant before, let alone an unschooled hum. Minutes passed, or perhaps only seconds. It was hard to tell in a place where time often felt malleable under the influence of Zarkonian energy fields. But gradually, Lyran's cries diminished. His translucent form settled into a gentle rhythm, wings folding delicately as he looked up at Jace with curious, glimmering eyes. Jace smiled softly, his hum tapering off, becoming a low, comforting exhale. There we go, little one." Lishra rose from her seat, her movements deliberate and cautious. She approached the human, her presence commanding, yet tempered by awe. "Who are you, human? How did you—" "I'm just a janitor," Jace said humbly. "I guess I know how to hum. That's all." Lishra's eyes narrowed, studying him intently. There was skepticism there, but also something else, recognition. Perhaps she saw the inexplicable thread of connection that had bridged the species divide in that instant. "You have a resonance," she said finally, her voice softer than before. "A vibration that our science cannot explain." The word resonance carried weight among the Zarkonians. It implied a deep attunement to life itself, a rare alignment with the natural frequencies of existence. For a human to possess it, especially in the presence of a royal infant, was unprecedented. As the attendants quietly cleaned up the remnants of their failed attempts, Lishra gently lifted Lyran, holding him close. The infant's gaze shifted between the queen and Jace, as if acknowledging that this simple human had achieved what Zarkonian knowledge had failed to do. "You have done something remarkable," the queen said. "I should demand to know how, but perhaps some mysteries are not meant to be dissected. They are to be felt." Jace chuckled softly, scratching the back of his head. "I guess sometimes the simplest things work the best." Over the following days, Jace found himself visiting the nursery more frequently, though unofficially. The queen allowed it, intrigued by the human's inexplicable gift. He discovered that Lyran's cries were not merely physical, they were a complex expression of perception, memory, and perhaps even emotion far beyond what science could categorize. And in this, Jace's hums seemed to resonate with something deep inside the infant, a bridge between species that no one had anticipated. Rumors began to circulate throughout the palace. Humans, once seen as mere laborers, now held a mysterious, almost sacred status. Scholars, once dismissive, came to observe the janitor's hums, attempting to record, analyze, and replicate them. All failed. Jace, with his casual and unstudied method, remained the only one capable of calming the queen's child. Yet, amidst all this attention, Jace remained humble. He did not seek recognition or power. He simply hummed, guided by instinct, by empathy, by the quiet knowledge that some connections could not be forced, they had to be nurtured. Months passed, and Lyran grew stronger, his wings stretching wider, his colors more vibrant. The infant's cries became rare, reserved for moments of genuine distress. And whenever they occurred, Jace was there, his hums weaving a thread of calm through the palace halls. Then, one evening, as the twin suns set and the palace glowed in shades of molten gold, Lishra called Jace to her private chambers. She held Lyran in her arms, who gazed at the human with luminous curiosity. "You have given me a gift beyond measure," the queen said quietly. "Not just peace for my child, but a glimpse into a future where understanding transcends species, where empathy itself is the bridge." Jace bowed respectfully. "I didn't do anything special. Just listened." Lishara smiled, a rare, genuine expression among her regal composure. Perhaps that is the true secret. In a world where knowledge is endless and power infinite, sometimes listening is the greatest strength. Lyran cooed softly, a sound like liquid crystal in the quiet of the chamber. Jace hummed once, gently, instinctively, and the infant's tiny hands reached out toward him. In that moment, the queen realized that the child would grow not just under the guidance of Zarkonian tradition, but alongside a bond that spanned worlds, a testament to the power of simple humanity, of compassion, and of resonance that could not be measured or understood, only felt. And as the stars of Valora's twin moons emerged in the darkening sky, the palace seemed to hum itself, echoing the quiet truth. Sometimes the smallest, simplest acts could change the course of destiny, and sometimes a human janitor's hum could calm the cries of a queen's baby, and perhaps, in the process, reshape an entire empire. Word count: 1770 words. Ending summary. Lyran, the queen's child, is calmed by Jace's human hums, establishing a profound connection that transcends species. The queen recognizes the unique bond and the power of empathy over pure science or protocol. Jace remains humble, and the story concludes with the notion that simple acts of listening and compassion can reshape destinies.